My people, I know we speak about Niger quite a lot, right? Niger, this country right here? Okay, I know a lot of people don't know much about Niger because we mostly speak about Ibrahim Traore. And I think a lot of people know about Ibrahim Traore because he's handsome, he's young, he's strong, he's righteous, to the human level. And a lot of people have become good supporters of Traore. Traore, not alone, there's Tiani. There's also the Malian president, this man right here. All of them are together, working together for a freer Africa. Things to really learn about. So I think today we're going to dive into Niger because I want us to know some things about Niger very quickly. And you're going to love it. Thank you very much for stopping. You appreciate it. We like you here. This is home. But before we get started, let's see about the president of Niger. This is him. Coming from the airport, he walked on foot from the airport to his home. On foot. Not scared. Watch this.
Nimi experienced a moment of rare intensity. As soon as the arrival of the head of state, Army General Abdourahamane Tiani, was announced, the capital was literally transformed. Huge crowds converged on the main roads, intersections and roundabouts. A human tide from every neighborhood and every district created an atmosphere of fervor, as one only sees during the great moments of national history. When the presidential plane landed at Abdourahamane Airport, a roar immediately rose up, shouts of joy, applause and songs, all bearing witness to the deep anticipation of the people. But the most remarkable moment came when, against all expectations, the head of state decided to walk. Yes, to walk from the airport all the way to the presidential palace. Surrounded by a dense crowd, General Abdourahamane Tiani embarked on this long journey across the capital, each step taken to the rhythm of cheers. As he passed, residents came out from everywhere, compounds, markets, workshops, kiosks, to witness this historic moment. Young people climbed onto the sidewalks, women waved their scarves in excitement.
Wow.
The elders greeted him with respect, and children ran to catch a glimpse of the president. Niamey was united in a single breath. The head of state moved forward slowly, taking the time to greet people, to shake hands, to exchange a few words with citizens who had come from different parts of the capital. Every street crossed became a stage for national unity. Each turn revealed a crowd even denser than the last. The capital presented the image of a city gathered together, standing tall, united around its leader. This procession on foot, unprecedented in its scale, offered a spectacle of total communion. A president in direct contact with his people. A people massively mobilized to show him their support. From the airport to the doors of the presidency, the head of state never left the human wave that accompanied him, as if to extend...
Okay, let me stop right there. As you can see, people are really, really, really in love with the president, okay? They are marching with him from the airport all the way to his home, okay? Obviously, there's security there, making sure that nothing funny happens, but clearly the president is at ease. I know a lot of people will say, this happens a lot in Africa because a lot of Africans don't know what they want. They will support the dictator, they will clap their hand for him. The same thing happened in Zaire, this country right here. Look, this man is named Mobutu. He was a dictator for a long, long time, okay? Bad guy. Before he was a bad guy, he was a good guy. He did some good things. Like people from Zaire back in time did not have names for Zairians, so they didn't have local names. They were colonized by the Belgians. The Belgians forced them to change their names into European names. They didn't have African names. No African names for the black people. So when this guy came into power, and in 1974, he came with something that he called authenticité. Authenticité means authenticity. So get back to your root. People got back their names. How? He said to them, go back to your village. Go learn. Go learn about your father. Go discover who you truly are. Go get a name from your village. That's how people, got back their names. They became now Africans with African names. He did some good things, but later on he became a dictator because he was listening to his family, precisely people from his tribe. And then later on, people still walked after him. They still followed him out of fear. But is this the case of Tiani? Are the people of Niger following this guy out of fear? Because this is what European people and media say. They're following him out of fear because if you don't follow him, you're going to die. He's like King Jong-un from North Korea. Do they all follow him really because they love him or not? Well, let's find out a little bit about Niger. I think if we found out about Niger, since this guy is in power, maybe we're going to have our own take to this man. So Tiani came into power in Niger on the 26th July 2023. Keep that date. And since then, a lot of things have happened. And I think we need to find out what has happened to Niger since this man has got to power. Maybe that's going to give us a leverage to understand if he's doing good things or not. How does he compare to Traoré? Okay, let's go. The first thing that has happened when he disposed of this president, Mohamed Bazoum, he kicked him out because Mohamed Bazoum was the friend of the French. Mohamed Bazoum opened the door to French companies, made sure French company had money and everything, looting industry, being rich while the people themselves were suffering. This man Tiani kicked out 1,000 soldiers from France. They were stationed in Niger for 50 years. Why? Because when they came into power, they sent a message to the ambassador of France saying, listen, dude, we are in power now, okay? We're running the show. You need to come and have a discussion with us. We're the new boss in town. Guess what the French ambassador did? He snapped them. He didn't respond, didn't reply. He traveled out of the country. They said to him, we need to talk to you or else we're going to ask you to leave the country. France replied saying, we do not respect you. We do not recognize you. We recognize the democratically elected government, not you. You're just a bunch of soldiers.
Our policy is simple. We do not recognize coup leaders. We support the president who has not resigned, and we are committed to standing by his side. I think that our policy is correct. It is based on the courage of President Bazoum, on the commitment of our diplomats and our ambassador, who will stay despite pressure and despite illegal claims of authority, as well as on the efforts of our internal security forces and of our army.
Niger got very angry. Now, because you say that, we don't want him back. We want, matter of fact, your soldiers that have been here for 50 years to leave. France resisted, but the people came down the street. Millions of people went to the military base of France asking them to leave. Well, obviously, even if you want to kill the civilians, you can't do it because the entire world is watching. France was forced to leave, ending a 50-year deal between Niger and France. He kicked out US military bases in Niger in 2024. Because when they got into power in 2023, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Niger at the time, this man right here, went to Iran to have a discussion with the Iranian counterpart, talking about affairs. Then the Americans got very scared about that. And guess what they did? Instead of speaking to Niger nicely, they accused Niger of taking uranium to Iran, saying Niger want to provide uranium to Iran for Iran to create an atomic bomb. Well, Niger didn't like that. Niger said, you know what? You can't talk to us like that. You cannot tell us what to do. This is our country. We make our own decisions. Now, when America heard about that, they sent people to go and talk to Niger. Niger said, no, you can take your stuff and leave our country. The military base of Americans in Niger was there. It was basically an airport that keeps drones. Drones for what? Drones for surveillance purpose. It was the CIA that actually surveilled all across Africa using drones. Under the impression of surveilling terrorism, the American and the military base in Niger, in Agadez, Niger said to them, you need to take your stuff and leave. You can't tell us who to be friends with. This is our country. Well, Americans sent a delegation of a diplomat to go and speak to the president. These diplomats did not announce themselves before going to Niger. So what you basically do is, if you want to see the president, you need to send a letter saying, listen, we want to come to your country and speak to the president. Then the president will say, okay, you can come on the day 21st of month July. They didn't do that. They just took a flight all over to Niger. Okay, because we're Americans, we're here now. We want to see the president. Guess what? Niger said, no, you are not seeing the president. They left and they kicked out the American soldiers. And this is how the American Senate reacted.
Say that C-130s are on their way to Niger today with the water and the medicine and the food our troops need, that they will have a full fighter pilot escort there. And if the Nigeri government or any other third world thug tries to even turn on their air defense systems, we should show those leaders and those thugs what the target package looks like on their houses and their family members, because it should not be Americans that are suffering because President Biden and Blinken are so embarrassed that their strategy in Africa failed that they're willing to let Americans' conditions deteriorate.
Well, you can see he was very angry. He didn't like the fact that an African country said, you know what, guys, you can pick up your stuff and leave. Because in most cases, when there's a coup d'etat in Africa, the new guys in power are always trying to have a good relationship with America. These ones, no, they were not interested. They wanted to pass a message that's very clear. America cannot tell us what to do. We can be friends with whoever we wanted. So then they called the Russians to stay in the same camp where the Americans were. Then America decided to leave. So this is ECOWAS on the map. All these countries make ECOWAS. What is ECOWAS? ECOWAS is basically just a bunch of countries of Africa coming together and lying to each other about brotherhood. You know how black people generally, hey, my brother. It's never really brotherhood. It's just lies, you know. Usually it's because they see something about you that's interesting. They don't say my brother to poor people. Like, yeah, rarely. It's my brother because they see something shining about you. Now, these ECOWAS are the same. They are African countries supposedly, supposed to be together to enrich each other, to economically work with one another. But the reality is, when these three countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, decided they didn't want anything to do with France, ECOWAS got very angry. And what they did, they blocked them and they sanctioned them. When they sanctioned them, these countries decided to leave. What kind of sanction was that? Sanction number one, ECOWAS, you see, all these countries, the ECOWAS. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso were part of ECOWAS. They said, number one, we're going to close the border. You cannot use our land, you cannot use our air. So they block you from flying over the countries. You cannot come out of your country, effectively isolating Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Number two, ECOWAS suspended commercial transactions between ECOWAS and Niger, basically saying, we cannot trade with you anymore. You won't get food from us, not medicine coming from us. You're going to suffer. The goal was simple. Let's put pressure on this country, Niger, that doesn't want to work with the French, and they're going to asphyxiate, and they will say, okay, sorry, we apologize. Well, Niger refused to do that. Number three, ECOWAS refused to provide electricity to Niger. How? Nigeria. You see, there's Nigeria and this is Niger. These are two different countries. Nigeria and Niger. Again, Nigeria, this is Niger. These are two different countries, okay? They are very similar, but they're very different in the head. Anyway, now Nigeria used to provide electricity to Niger. And I know a lot of Nigerians are saying, how is that possible? Because us Nigerians don't even have electricity. Yes, you don't have electricity. Nigerians don't have electricity for you, the Nigerians, but they have electricity for export purpose to make the money. I know you don't even see that money. But Nigeria used to export electricity to Niger. They decided to cut electricity off, in spite of the fact that many people in hospitals in Niger back in time were suffering. They needed air, oxygen, all the stuff you need in hospital. Imagine. Babies in those things, whatever you call that thing, where you keep the baby that are born 6 months old. Those babies were unalive because Nigeria cut electricity off. Fellas, I was told that in life you must avoid being a problem with many people. Okay, don't have beef with everybody. You can have a beef with one person, maybe two. Don't try 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. Don't have problems with everybody. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to bring those people together. They're going to be friends. They're going to hook up. They're going to hold one another against you. You don't want that. You don't want to be the enemy of everybody. Guess what happened? When people are pushed to the side, what happens? They come together. That's exactly what happened with Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. And they form an alliance called the IES. Number 5, these three countries signed a mutual agreement since Chani is in power. Okay, they have a mutual agreement where they have 5,000 soldiers that are united from all three countries. Those soldiers are patrolling across the countries fighting against terrorists. Number 6, they've created a biometric passport that's united. So they use one passport. Yeah, my coffee for that. One passport these three countries understand. They understand that countries are bullshit created by Europeans. Only you believe in that because, you don't like sharing. You are greedy. You think if other people come into your country, they're going to be taking things from my country. You must go back to your country. Fix your country. We fought for our country. You're going to die, my brother. You don't have a country. When you die, you are gone. There's no country. There's not even flag. Yeah, when you die, you're gone. You're just born. You didn't know where you were born. You're going to die. You don't even know where you're going to. Anyway. So these three understand that countries is bullshit. So they've come together creating one passport. Number 7, Niger expelled a senior executive from China since this guy is in power. How? So China has been working in petroleum in Niger. Okay, a big petroleum company was hiring people from Niger and people from China. So what happened? They discovered that engineers from China got about $8,678, and engineers from Niger doing the same job got $1,200. You hear that? $8,678 for the Chinese and $1,200 for the Nigerian. That's how they treat you. You can only be treated the way you are perceived, the way you sell yourself. Niger is saying, no, we're not accepting this. What did they do? 3 senior executives from this company were fired and asked to leave the country. Leave the continent within 48 hours. Yes, that's a president looking after his people. Many African countries, you cannot open your mouth against a Chinese person. You know that. Brother, I'm always going to tell you the truth. Africans talk about Africa. When it comes time to love each other, they don't know how to do that. In many African countries, you cannot open your mouth facing a Chinese person. You're going to go to jail because he's got a friend who's a general. The governor is in his pocket. Yeah, they don't have dignity. Okay. This man says, how do you pay your people 8,000 and you pay the Chinese 1,000? In some countries, they will say to me, you know, boss, we have 20 million to give you so you can just stay quiet. He's going to stay quiet. That's what it is. Okay. This is the kind of president you need or not. All the political parties were dissolved. I know that doesn't sound democratic. Well, I don't think they claim being democratic because they feel like democracy was something that brought by Europeans. Okay, Africa is not necessarily democratic. Or else they feel that the country is not ready for democracy. I mean, in Ukraine, there are no political parties right now. Okay, there were a bunch of people that were pro-Russian or actually didn't want to go to war against Russia. What happened? Ukraine said to them, stand down, okay? Close down, close your doors. Were they right or wrong? People didn't criticize them for that. Okay, so why is when an African country does that, people get angry? Well then, number 9, the Nigerian government has nationalized, since Chani is in power, the uranium mine, okay? Congratulations. Niger is one of the countries with the most uranium in the world. And uranium is something that's very important. You use uranium for many things. The atomic bomb, you need uranium for it. You need uranium in medicine, in technology, and even to create electricity. As a matter of fact, France used to get uranium from Niger. They were buying exclusively, so no other country had the rights to buy uranium from Niger. Why? Because France colonized them. Imagine, you can't sell to nobody else. And France established the price on which they're going to buy your uranium. We are the only people buying uranium, and we're going to tell you the price at which you're going to buy it. Matter of fact, France used to pay $0.80 per kilogram for the Nigerian uranium. 0.80 kilogram. And in the same token, they bought for $200 a kilogram uranium from Canada. So 0.8, not even a dollar. 0.8 for the black people and $200 for the Canadian. That shows you how they treat you, how they respect you. Now that's over now, okay? With Tiani, the uranium is at the same price as Canada's uranium. Is that a good thing or not? With Tiani, since he's in power, things have changed. The economy has grown, okay? People are moving towards a good position. As much as they're being demonized, things are happening. That's what it is, fellas. I think it's a very interesting story that we all need to find out and know about. I know many people just know about Ibrahim Traore, which is a good thing. He's a great guy. But I think we also need to know about most of the other things and other people. Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. Drop your comment, fellas. We want you to drop your comment for things to move further. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the people that are following us on private. We see you. We see you. Thank you. United States of America, Canada, the UK, Jamaica, Africa. One love. God bless.